In the turquoise depths of the Indo-Pacific Ocean, where sunlight penetrates tropical waters, creating a luminous ballet of golden rays, exists a creature that defies all laws of visual perception. While predators circle and prey tremble, a master of illusion remains invisible, changing shape and color with a speed that surpasses any human technology. This is not science fiction. This is the domain of the Broadclub Cuttlefish, a cephalopod mollusk whose scientific name, Sepia Latimanus, barely captures the magnificence of its abilities. With its tentacles adorned with robust clubs and a body that can transform into coral reef, seaweed, or sand in less than a second, this queen of disguise reigns over a territory stretching from the Red Sea to the crystalline waters of Polynesia, traversing more than 15,000 kilometers of ocean. Its existence challenges our understanding of animal intelligence, visual communication, and evolutionary adaptation, transforming each dive into its habitat into an expedition into the realm of the impossible made real. Prepare to enter a world where reality is fluid, where a living being can paint its own skin like a living canvas, and where survival depends not on brute force, but on the supreme art of deception. This is a story never before told in the way you are about to discover it. The epic saga of the most sophisticated biological architect of the tropical seas, capable of feats that would leave any human magician in profound admiration and reverence before the supreme power of nature. The broad-clubbed cuttlefish inhabits one of the most biodiverse and geologically complex regions on the planet, the vast expanse of the tropical Indo-Pacific, an oceanic domain that stretches from the warm waters off the east coast of Africa, through the Indian Ocean, across the Indonesian archipelago, with its more than 17,000 islands, extending through the Coral Sea to reach the remote reefs of Micronesia and Polynesia. This colossal territory, bathed by ocean currents that carry vital nutrients and maintain temperatures between 16 and 30 degrees Celsius throughout the year, represents approximately 1/3 of the entire ocean surface of the planet. Here, at depths ranging from just 3 meters in shallow lagoons to approximately 30 meters at the edges of the reefs, the cuttlefish has established its unquestionable reign, carefully choosing habitats that combine sandy bottoms, branching coral gardens, seagrass meadows, and rock formations full of crevices and hiding places perfect for its hunting and breeding strategies. The environment that this extraordinary creature calls home is a mosaic of textures, colors, and shapes, constantly transformed by the dance of the tides, the lunar cycles, and the passing of the climatic seasons which, even in the tropics, influence water temperature, current intensity, and prey abundance. During the wet monsoon season, between November and March in the southern hemisphere, coastal waters receive a massive injection of sediments and nutrients carried by rivers flowing into the sea, creating an explosion of marine life that attracts gigantic schools of small fish, crustaceans, and juvenile mollusks, the perfect feast for an opportunistic predator like the cuttlefish. In the crystal-clear waters of coral reefs like those of Raja Ampat in Indonesia, or in the limestone formations of the Maldives, or even in the underwater gardens of the Australian Great Barrier Reef, each individual broadclub cuttlefish patrols a territory of approximately 1 to 2,000 square meters, defending it with hypnotic visual displays and, when necessary, with precise jets of its dark ink that confuse and disorient any intruder who dares to challenge its sovereignty over that piece of underwater paradise. Observing a broad-clubbed cuttlefish is to witness a miracle of evolutionary bioengineering that took over 500 million years to perfect. Its robust body can reach up to 50 centimeters in mantle length, with a weight ranging from 2 to 5 kilograms when fully grown. But these physical measurements barely scratch the surface of its true complexity. Beneath its soft, supple skin lies a visual communication system that would put even the most advanced human television screens to shame. Millions of specialized cells called chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores work in perfect synchrony, orchestrated by a decentralized nervous system of unparalleled sophistication. The chromatophores contain yellow, red, and brown pigments that can expand or contract in milliseconds, controlled by tiny muscles that respond to neural commands faster than a human blink. Below them, iridophores reflect and refract light like living prisms, creating silvery, bluish, and greenish tones that change depending on the viewing angle, while leucophores scatter light diffusely, producing the brilliant white needed to mimic light sands and bleached corals. But the true genius of this creature goes beyond simple color change. It masters the three-dimensional art of texture. Under its conscious control, muscular papillae spread across its entire body surface, capable of rising in fractions of a second to create protuberances, spines, and warts that transform smooth skin into an irregular surface perfectly identical to a brain coral or a rock covered in encrusting algae. This transformation is not random. Marine researchers have documented that each cuttlefish possesses a repertoire of approximately 13 to 17 distinct camouflage patterns, each adapted to a specific type of substrate or hunting situation. Its 8 mobile arms, decorated at the base with undulating membranes, and especially its 2 longest feeding tentacles, the broad clubs that give the species its name, are armed with hundreds of suckers, equipped with denticulated rings that guarantee an unbreakable grip when the cuttlefish captures prey. These tentacles remain retracted in special pouches on the body, invisible until the fateful moment when they explode forward at a speed of more than 10 meters per second, covering the distance to an unsuspecting prey before any muscle can react to the imminent danger. The hunt of the broad-clubbed cuttlefish is a performance of infinite patience followed by explosive violence, a duality that defines the existence of every ambush predator in tropical marine ecosystems. At dawn, when the first rays of sunlight begin to penetrate the water column and nocturnal fish return to their hiding places, while diurnal species emerge hungry and still sleepy, our protagonist is already positioned, its body perfectly blended with the surrounding environment, perhaps mimicking a cluster of brown algae swaying gently with the current, or perhaps transformed into an irregular piece of dead coral covered by the whitish biofilm of colonizing microorganisms. Its extraordinary eyes, with W-shaped pupils that allow panoramic vision without needing to move its head, monitor every movement in its surroundings, calculating distances with mathematical precision thanks to a depth perception system based not on stereoscopic vision like ours, but on accommodation of the lens that functions as a natural biological rangefinder. A school of young sardines approaches, hundreds of silvery bodies moving in hypnotic synchronicity, completely oblivious to the camouflage danger just 2 meters away. So, in a moment of instantaneous decision, processed by a brain proportionally larger than that of any other invertebrate, the cuttlefish chooses its victim. Not the nearest fish, but the one slightly isolated on the periphery of the school. The individual that presents the lowest risk of successful escape. What happens next defies physics. The 2 feeding tentacles shoot forward with an acceleration exceeding 100 meters per second squared, a G-force that would shatter human bones, covering the distance in just 30 milliseconds. The suckers cling to the sardine's body with an adhesion that generates more than 2 kilograms of force per square centimeter. And before the prey's nervous system can even register the attack, it is already being inexorably pulled towards the horny beak hidden between the cuttlefish's arms, a razor-sharp structure capable of cutting through scales, muscles, and even small crustacean shells. Death is almost instantaneous, merciful in its brutal efficiency. But the real spectacle lies not in the capture itself, but in what happens immediately afterward. The cuttlefish displays pulsating waves of color across its body, alternating brown and white stripes at a frequency of 3 to 5 cycles per second. a behavior that marine scientists believe to be both an expression of metabolic excitement and possibly a primitive form of emotion, analogous to the satisfaction or triumph that we mammals experience after a successful hunt. The reproduction of the broad-clubbed cuttlefish is a spectacle of color, drama, and chemistry that rivals the best human novels in its emotional and strategic complexity. During the breeding season, which generally coincides with the warmer water months between October and March, males undergo a radical behavioral transformation, their priorities shifting abruptly from solitary hunting to fierce competition for access to mature females. A breeding male displays his readiness through spectacular visual displays. Waves of zebra-like pigmentation run down his body from his head to the tips of his tentacles, while iridescent blue and green patches pulse around his eyes like biological spotlights, signaling vigor and genetic health. When two rival males meet near a receptive female, a visual duel begins where each opponent attempts to outdo the other in chromatic intensity and apparent size, inflating their bodies with seawater and extending their arms to the maximum to appear larger and more threatening. These battles rarely result in physical contact. Violence is replaced by pure intimidation, although occasionally a particularly determined male may use his tentacles to push a rival away, or even physically expel him from the courtship territory, with directed jets of water expelled from his muscular siphon. When a female finally accepts the advances of a successful male, the mating ritual becomes surprisingly tender for such predatory creatures. The male approaches cautiously, his color patterns shifting to softer hues and his pulses slower, almost hypnotic, as he extends a specialized arm, the hectocotylus, laden with encapsulated spermatophores that will be transferred to the female's mantle cavity. This intimate moment can last from 15 to 40 minutes, during which both partners remain vulnerable to predators, a testament to the overwhelming biological imperative of reproduction. After fertilization, the female meticulously searches for sheltered cavities in coral reefs or under rocky overhangs where she deposits her eggs. Small black capsules the size of an olive, each containing a single developing embryo. She may lay 100 to 300 eggs over several weeks, attaching each one individually with a strong adhesive stalk that keeps them safe from strong currents. Tragically, as with most cephalopods, both males and females begin to deteriorate after reproduction, their bodies literally programmed for self-destruction after fulfilling their ultimate evolutionary purpose. Within weeks, these magnificent creatures that have dominated their territories for 2 to 3 years disappear, returning their chemical elements to the eternal cycle of the ocean, while a new generation of tiny cuttlefish emerges from the eggs, each already equipped with the full arsenal of camouflage abilities, ready to restart the millennial cycle of this extraordinary lineage that has traversed geological eras, survived mass extinctions, and continues to thrive as a living testament to the infinite creativity of biological evolution. This is just a fraction of the fascinating story of the Broadclub Cuttlefish, a creature that humbly reminds us that intelligence, beauty, and adaptation exist in forms unimaginably different from our own. If you were amazed by this journey through the depths of the Indo-Pacific and want to continue exploring the most extraordinary secrets of marine life, leave a like so that more people can discover these natural wonders. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any expeditions to the most remote and surprising corners of our planet's oceans. Share this documentary with those who, like you, are still enchanted by the living mysteries that inhabit the seas. After all, each view is a vote for the conservation of these precious ecosystems and a step towards a future where humans and cuttlefish can continue to coexist on this blue planet we call home.